So Sword Art Online Season 3 is finally back after its 1-week break for this past holiday season. Glad to have it finally back. I missed it last week. It really left a void last week. All there was Goblin Slayer, and there really wasn't much that came out. So I'm glad SAO is back going forward for every single Saturday until, the shift between anime seasons, between, for instance, spring of anime 2019. But okay. I honestly expect to get a new opening song. Like, when this episode started, I figured I was going to be listening to a new opening song, ending song, something like that would happen, but that was not the case. I thought it would have been a perfect time to really give us a new opening song, because after the holiday break, after the one episode off, we would have a new opening song start playing, but like I said, that did not happen. It's kind of sad, really, but honestly, I do like the opening song, so it's really not that bad. So anyways, getting into this episode. A lot of info dumping. Like, I've already seen many start to complain to me on social media, telling me, Chibi, when is this series going to stop info dumping so much? For instance, last episode was a lot of info dumping, this episode was a lot of info dumping, and many are wondering, like, okay, when are we going to get to the action? Here's the thing, guys, okay? SEO does have a lot of world building. It always has. It just, with the first and second season, it wasn't properly adapted. You never really got to see all the world building that really was in the series to make us really appreciate the things that happen in the future. If you don't like the world building, you're just going to have the same garbage that Season 1 was. And I don't think many really want that. So, I think we should put up with the info dumping to have proper setup for the events to come later on. I'm really enjoying Season 3, and I think many that do like SEO probably have to admit that this is probably the best season we've ever gotten of the anime. Now, one thing I do want to mention, though, is that within this episode, this is where I stopped at. What I mean is I stopped reading the light novel at this point. For instance, the content within this episode, when Kirito and Yujiro walk out the door, honestly, I no longer know what's going to happen. I don't know what will happen after this point. I am anime only now. I have no idea what to really expect, and I am looking forward to seeing, where the story goes after this point. I mean, I have a lot of questions now on where the story's going to go, because it's been a while since I saw this in the light novel, and I actually forgot pretty much majority of the content that happened within this episode, because, like I said, this was like the final part I read a long time ago in the light novel, and here I am now. So anyways, to get right into it, to kind of explain what happened with, the authority or the administrator and, Cardinal, what happened is that the administrator, she reached a memory overload. Like, when you have a PC, phone, whatever, or a game console, and you run out of space to save files, or, download games, movies, whatever, you run out of space. It's like any electronic device, it has that. It has a limited amount of storage, and eventually you're either going to have to delete things to be able to store more things, or you're going to have to get a bigger hard drive. In this case, the administrator, she realized that she was running out of memory space. And obviously, because of all the knowledge she has, she doesn't want to just start going in her memories, removing things randomly, or even removing things because, she doesn't want to have to lose anything. She wants to maintain all the knowledge she has gained. You can kind of say she's a hoarder. And in her own way, she wanted to go out of her way to store more memories on a second hard drive. When you have a game, system, or you have like a phone or whatever, or a camera, you might buy an SD card or whatever, or a new hard drive or whatever, like an upgrade. That's what she wanted to do. She wanted to get a new hard drive to be able to store her memories on, to be able to have more memories, for she wouldn't have an overflow to where she can't gain anything else or any more knowledge. Because when you think about her as a character, what we saw from the last episode and this episode, she was a character that loved to get stronger. She lusted for power, and she wanted to know everything. In this case, when you reach a memory overflow, it's kind of like her entire character was getting bogged down. She no longer was the person she once was. She can't be that person because she's now at a point to where if she tries to, learn anything else, she's going to start having to remove other things to be able to learn it. She's just at a cap right now, and she cannot go past that. And in this case, that's where the little girl, which became Cardinal, comes into the picture. Now, to explain, the girl that is the Cardinal from this episode and last episode, she didn't start off as the Cardinal. For instance, the body that Cardinal's currently in, she wasn't originally in that body. Cardinal was just an AI that was kind of like this entity that wasn't able to be seen at all, that maintained the balance of the world. Think about it like this. When you're playing, let's say, an RPG or MMORPG, World of Warcraft, Diablo, whatever, and you're playing these games that have loot tables. Like, for instance, weapon drops, item drops, monster spawns, rare monster spawns, etc., etc. And that's kind of what the Cardinal system is about. The Cardinal system is all about basically balancing the game world. For instance, spawns to changes or events and stuff like that. Maybe an event might pop up and like a holiday season event or something. That's what the Cardinal system is about. And in this case, it's never really supposed to have like a human body. And the reason why Cardinal has a human body was because the administrator, remember what happened in the previous episode, she basically tried to take control of the Cardinal system, get the authority of it, but in turn she wrote the Cardinal system onto her own Fluctlight, which meant that she now was the Cardinal itself. And when she reached a memory overload, she wanted to somehow shift all of her memories over to a new copy, which that's where the little girl came in that eventually became Cardinal. So when she tried to shift over memories and do the process of, rewriting the girl's entire memories and stuff and, creating basically another copy of herself, it made it to where when the Cardinal got its functions into the little girl, it became human, but then it also realized that the Cardinal it's seeing in front of it, the administrator, there's an error. It's error. It's kind of like when a computer senses an error or something, or you have electronics that are tied together and it has this function where it's like a stopgap. It senses something's wrong, it'll just shut everything down. That's what the Cardinal is. It's a subsystem that realizes that, the entire system's out of whack. The Cardinal system is not working, Underworld's programs are not working, and it wants to fix it. And so in that moment when the Cardinal was going up against the administrator, that's the reason, because it sensed how broken the system was and needed to be fixed, and it made it to where, the administrator, she wasn't able to fully duplicate all of her memories over into Cardinal. She wasn't able to completely do that, but the authority of the Cardinal system did shift over, which was the subsystem to fix errors, which, like I said, that's where, she comes in and why she is against the administrator. So, yeah, I think there is a lot of complicated things in this episode, and I think people that are well-versed in programming or gaming are really going to be able to appreciate or understand the terms that's used within this episode. But if you're just watching this anime and you really don't know much about programming, scripting, commands inside of a game or whatever, then this is probably going to be a very confusing episode. And if you don't know much about, main hard drives or sub-hard drives, then this is also going to confuse you, especially with how the Cardinal system comes in as like a backup to be able to deal with errors that happen in the main program, which this is kind of how it works with hard drives too. Back in the past, I remember seeing my brother, creating computers, and, there was two hard drives that were installed. You had the main hard drive, like the main, and then you had the one that was called the slave. That's what, the hard drives were called in the past, and in this case, that's kind of what, the Cardinal is. She's like the slave backup that backs up the main, and the main has more power, has more authority, but without the sub, the main wouldn't be able to fully operate. And so that's kind of where Cardinal comes in. Cardinal is still trying to correct these errors and trying to stop what is happening. So it's kind of like putting problems or errors inside of your computer that happens, like you can see on screen or whatever, into an anime-like setting. And that's what's happening currently within this episode. But okay, let's get into the dark territory. So we get a little bit of information on the dark territory, and that all of the goblins, beasts, and stuff that's in this world, they have human Fluctlights. They're human AIs. They all have human minds, but their bodies are just different. It's pretty simple when you think about it. When they are incorporating and creating, these AI, they're just, reskinning, where their vessel's at. They're just reskinning it into a different creature. So an ogre, a goblin, to a dragon, whatever. That's what Raph is able to do. And that explains why, they're in different, creatures, why they have their own personalities, stuff like that. You got to see a glimpse of this in, the second episode or first episode, whatever. So, it's clear as day that this has always been there. It just, this episode finally confirms that revelation. And it leads for something very interesting, because many might wonder, okay, so these goblins and stuff obviously are able to go about and destroy the world or whatever. Isn't that what Raph is looking for? Yes, they are, but you also got to remember something. Raph doesn't want an AI that's going to go off the rails and betray them. They want an AI that will be obedient, but they want an AI that will break the rules. For instance, when you look at the Taboo Index, it's caused it to where everybody, all of humanity, is not hurting or harming anyone. While the Dark Territory, which has no rules, are able to do whatever they want, they're doing whatever, and they're following the basic footsteps of humanity itself. And so that's not what, Raph wants. They want a system AI that will listen, but will commit atrocities. They want to create this conflict and see if these, humans will break the taboo to be able to save themselves. That's what they want to know. They're setting all this up just to kind of see if they can truly create these machines that will fight in wars in the future. So there you go. That's to clarify on that. Overall, I think, this episode of Sword and Line Season 3 was really good. A lot of info dumping, but I love it for that. I love information and stuff and seeing the world building, and I really appreciate how, this anime adaptation of SEO is just so much better than the first and second season. But I think I want to end it at that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.